Well, here we are again. Took the Chevelle out for a spin yesterday and made it about 5 miles, and here the right caliper started locking up on me. So when I was driving along, suddenly I started pulling to the right where it was hanging up, and then when I hit the brakes, dart right to the left. So, and then when I stopped, a lot of smoke coming out from this vicinity. So had to order up brake caliper for it, and got that from O'Reilly's, and that showed up this morning. Ordered it last night. Get this pulled off and replace it. While I'm replacing it, I'm gonna replace the rubber line too. Figured it'd be a good time to do that, as long as I can get the rubber line to break free from the steel line. If it doesn't want to break free, then it's gonna stay on, because I don't feel like busting that steel line and having to replace that right now. But then over winter, when the car's put away, I can go and replace the steel line at that point, or the rubber line at that point, since I won't be driving it. But we got a show tonight. I want to hurry up and get this fixed so I can be able to drive it. There's one thing, the rotor looks brand new now. She was dragging it. No rust on it at all. And actually it's in really good shape. It doesn't appear to be warped or anything, and it was fine before, so won't be replacing that at all. Pull the calipers off the bracket. They're tight. Got the new caliper. Nice and shiny. Brand new remanufactured one. Comes with new brake pad clip and new hardware. I still always hang on to the old hardware just in case. When you guys are doing this, make sure the bleeder's always up. Okay, well, the rubber brake line beat me today. Everything was just, this car was driven in Minnesota during the winter. So everything is just real permanent, so don't have the time to sit there and mess around with the brake lines if they break, twisting and doing all that stuff because of the show I want to get to tonight. So I ended up just removing the bolt from the caliper and replacing it that way. Now that one fought me too, and it wasn't ideal, but I had to grind that bolt off to be able to get the rubber line off, because that was stripped out and everything, and it was just a headache. And so I lucked out really good, didn't wreck anything, and tightened it back up, and it doesn't appear to be any leaks. So now throw some .3 brake fluid in, and it's such a large container I had to buy. All I'm going to do is put in a little cup here to pour it in, just so I don't make a mess all over everything. This brake fluid is pretty harsh on the paints and everything. Now we're going to go and replace the diverter valve. Now, with trying to keep the car as original as possible, I bought a reproduction diverter valve, which was not cheap, because under deceleration the car was backfiring, and that could be one of the symptoms. Since the rest of the car seems to be running fine, I don't really can't imagine what else would it be. Well, I put this one in and still had the problem. So I went and I picked up a replacement factory GM one, which does not look the same as this one, but it's an updated part. It's black, it's plastic. But I'm going to put that one in. Found it for cheap, so we'll see how that one goes. Got the hoses off. Now I just gotta loosen up the old diverter valve. Once I get it off, I'll show you just 2 screws. Once I get it off, I'll show you the difference between the original one, or at least a knockoff of the original one, which is still different than what the actual real original one was. They actually had quite a few different variations of the diverter valve depending upon if it was a small block, big block, 2-barrel, 4-barrel, automatic transmission, manual, 2-speed, 3-speed, 4-speed, 8-speed, 10-speed, all that. But you can see the 2 right here. Now, the gluten-free one here is what the reproduction one, and I think my original one didn't even have the muffler on it, but it just goes like that. Some are straight out, and then ask me how I know, but other ones mounted differently. They actually had a nipple coming off at the end here. So got a new old stock one of those up in the parts bin. Like I said, here's the new one. Pretty much mounts the same. Got one vacuum line there and the other for the exhaust, probably through the EGR or air pump and all that stuff. So we'll get this one in, see if it will show up there, but that's the actual part number for this application, at least I hope. Now on other cars I've had the air pump and different components of the exhaust gas recirculation system go bad. And I just hit the old delete button on those, but like I said, now the way a lot of these cars are going, I've been trying to keep it more and more original. And again, like I said, this one's not going to be fully original because the diverter valve is different, but at least all the rest of the components are there. Now to restore the hose clamps, all I did, because they were rusty, all I did was put them in a bucket of evaporust, let them sit for a day or 2, took them out, hosed them off, clear coated them. They look as good as new. The best part with the evaporust, what I like is in a bucket of it and just let it sit. I can go along and work on other stuff while they're doing their own thing. Okay, just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Got the brake caliper on, everything bled. I did not replace the rubber line just because it was just too much for me to do today. Just didn't have enough time that I wanted to devote for it. I'll do it during the winter when the car's put up and I got all winter to do it then. Just went and got gas. Everything's working fine. Brakes are working as they should. Actually, they're really well. They'll lock up. With the new diverter valve in, there's no more backfiring under, rapid deceleration. So obviously that solved the problem. So as of now, there's no issues. Should be able to make it to the car show tonight and show her off. Right there, the hanger for the fuel line is where the fuel line likes to rust around and rot away, and now here we are trying to replace it. So let me get that in and I'll get you guys back when it's done. I got in the vise just so I can keep the orientation the same as I go along and measure it here. I can make a few bends in here and hopefully get it close to how this section is. Now, originally the Chevelle would have had a single gas line going all the way from the tank all the way forward, but This section must have rusted out at one point and they put a patch in, and well, here it rusted out again, and where it's doing it is right around the retainers. Well, done this many times before. I gotta get the fitting down in the end where it needs to be. You guys can see, but there's the new gas line. Now this is right under the passenger door. This is about where the rear of the door is. You can see it runs along here. One of the retainers is rusted out, so not going to be replacing that one. As you can see, I got the other ones in, and well, just going to the darkness there, but actually, the way I bent it turned out pretty good. Curves around there, really doesn't rub on anything. It's close to the floorboard, but just a little ways away there. A little pulling on it. Got a little bit farther away so it doesn't rub on anything and goes right to the retainer. So hopefully now everything snugged down. And this is, like I said, this was replaced before at one time. So getting a piece from O'Reilly's that was 51 inches long fit perfect. So now hopefully it's all steel line. Hopefully it won't leak anymore. And now I can say I believe it's roadworthy. Well, there we have it, guys. Not gonna lie, the fuel line, that was a nerve-wracker. Sitting there just fixing one area and it just kept busting out somewhere else. So I just replaced that whole section. I was lucky enough that it was replaced once before, so I could just get a replacement piece in there, and I already had the fittings and the couplers, and went on pretty easy considering. But oh, just frustrated with, you know, thinking to have it fixed and then here it leaked. And well, anyway, at least this is the more of the correct way to have it done. Ideally, it would be just to go through and replace the whole thing, but like I said, I want to try to keep this car on the road throughout the summer as much as I can. Don't want to tie it up in the shop. That would be a good winter project to do when, you know, there's not much going on else around it with the, when it's frozen Arctic time. But recap so far, this week we did the diverter valve. So we got the new one in, test drove it, no more backfiring under deceleration. Got the fuel line fixed, no more leaks there. New caliper in. Did not replace the rubber line, the rubber hose there, because it's just a little bit too difficult, and like I said, just for the time crunch. So that would be another good winter project when I can just spend a little bit more time and just make sure it's done right. But the rubber line did look good, you know, can't see on the inside, that could be all corroded and everything, but the outside wasn't all weather cracked or anything like most of my vehicles seem to be when they're going bad. But I think that's about it. Last thing I'm gonna do to it before I call it a night, just gonna get rid of that front license plate and throw on one of these. So, need to go and represent. Most of my cars, I do something like this for the front plate. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up, clean up the shop, and, you know, relax. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time. One thing I wanted to share with my other Laguna owners is, what do you guys do for the front license plate here? Do you just put bolts through it or what? What I found, I picked this up at O'Reilly's. It was called the Ultimate Kit. It comes with the different attachments for the license plates for the rear, but it also came with these guys. So what I like with that is they will actually slide right in here, push right in. What I'm gonna do is actually go from the back, push these in, and then from the front, it has the screws that will just go right in here. And these will stay with the vehicle. They got a rubber surround so they shouldn't spin. And then actually it comes with some of these plastic washers too, which I think I'm gonna put on the back side of the license plate just to help hold it away from a little bit. You can see where the other plate got a little too close and, you know, kind of stuck to it. So it pulled a little bit of paint off. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. But just wanted to give you guys a tip on that. I just happened to run across them and thought I'd give it a try. If you guys do something different, throw it down in the comments and let me know.